Where do you think that different behavior comes from?
It comes from, I think, I believe is the Communist Party is a very hierarchical society and a structure. Everything go by political power. And then every rank has a different level of political power. And then it's paying respect to their power.
What's an example of that?
Like a simple thing, it's like in the Chinese society in general, you will say, well, the elderly are the respected person, right? Like a family gathering, you will have the elderly sitting at the top of the table, right? I mean, that's just Chinese culture. But you go into that room, let's say you have 10 person dinner. The seating is basically go according to the ranking. And it's very, very specific. Everybody know where exactly they should sit. And then you have a couple of people sort of being modest, the lower ranking officials being modest and then trying to fight for the last seat, say the most humble seat, so to speak, around the round table. And then you have that. But everybody know who should sit on which seat.
So it's kind of like a subversion of traditional Chinese culture. It's then now based on Communist Party hierarchy and ranking.
Yeah.
I know people talk a lot about how important guanxi is in business dealings in China, relationships. What was your experience with that?
It is shocking, and then in a way, shocking is how. What actually does that mean? How that guanxi is actually built? Because you got a lot of people, foreigners coming into China claiming they have quote unquote guanxi with this and that, and then you have this, Hong Kong people coming to China and then they have guanxi with this and that, and then to an average person, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, he has a photo shot with that person. Oh yeah, he actually went to the dinner with that person. And they assume that's some kind of guanxi. It's actually absolutely not. If you see in the book, I mean, it is very, very different type of relationship. In a way, to build guanxi with power, you need to submerge your humanity. You need to put yourself down to serve that person at the top. And then you're trying to anticipate their wishes. And then do better than the next guy who is also trying to curry favor from that person. So it is a very humbling experience, to say the least.
It sounds very dehumanizing.
It is very dehumanizing. There's no such a thing as like human to human.
Wow. So how do people have to sacrifice their humanity for this?
You put other person's interests ahead of yourself in all situations. You're trying to anticipate what would they possibly like, and you get there and prepare for them before they ever arrive. And then and then it's not just that person. It's everybody. That person may be like his son-in-law, okay, or his son. Is like, okay, his son want to get to just came back. Let's say, give example. Like the son that just or the daughter just went to Western education, went to Harvard, just came back. And then you're trying to, that's a 20-something-year-old, right? And then you're trying to build a relationship with that person because if you do that and help that boy or the girl, his father gonna like it. So you're gonna have coffee that person with their kid, and it's like, oh, what do you want? Oh, you want to get into a PE firm? Let me find you a job in a PE firm. Oh, maybe you want to, 2 years from now, you want to build a PE firm by yourself. Maybe let us help you. It's like all of those things. It's it's this kind of things is they call it. That's the real guanxi. It's like a completely different type of relationship, is it? You're trying to sort of merge into their family, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I could see that actually ending up making the business environment in China much worse. Like if you're constantly hiring people who aren't actually knowledgeable or skilled, just hiring them because of their connections, that would result in people being in positions of power that shouldn't be there.
Well, that's like a course of doing business. You build in redundancy, and then you have you hire another person to do the real job.
Got it.
Yeah, I remember that whole. Was it JP Morgan a few years ago that had that scandal with like just hiring a bunch of princelings?
Oh, the Sons and Daughters program.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that was a little too blatant.
Yeah.
But then they got them in trouble. But from what you're saying, this is basically how it works, right?
That's how it works. I mean, JP Morgan, let's say they want to get into IPO sponsorship with a major state-owned enterprise. That son and daughter can call on his parents or his uncles and say, well, get me a meeting with the CEO of the state-owned enterprise. My boss wants to meet that guy. And that's a meeting that, other bankers wouldn't be able to do. And that's what you're paying the kids for.
You mentioned in the book that Whitney, your ex-wife, really learned how to build these kinds of relationships and how to kind of handle and deal with Chinese officials pretty early on. How did she get that experience, and what did she do that kind of led to her like really rapid rise in Chinese business?
I think, as many things in life, a lot of coincidence and it happens together, and then it comes together and it becomes something else at the end of it. She came from a very, very humble background. I mean, I came from a humble background. My parents are both secondary teachers. I mean, her situation even worse. I mean, she come from basically countryside in Shandong. And her parents didn't believe she can get into university. They sent her to a vacation school to be a car repairing mechanic. And then she believed she can do it. She studied on her own, and then took exam twice, the school entrance, university entrance exam twice, and get into the university. And what happened afterward is really prepare her, for what happened, for what happened 20 years later. Is she was a star student in a university. She graduated top of the class, and then the university asked her to stay and become a secretary to the president of the university. And that's a military. It's a university related to the military. So she very on gets, accompanying the president of the university, meeting with seeing how meetings are done at the senior official level, and then from there she got seconded to be a junior bureaucrat in a county. So she spent, I think, 2-3 years there. And at that level, at that situation, she get to see how sort of most, how the system work at the bottom, right? I mean, the county level, how the officials relate to each other, how things actually get done on the ground. And in her situation, the head of the county actually was arrested for corruption and a lot of backstabbing, according to the story she told me. And then she just got really disappointed and disillusioned by how the system actually works and how corrupt it is. And then she decided she wanted to try her luck in a commercial work. And then she started her career with, again, a real estate development company belongs to the military. In the 90s, military engaged in all sort of commercial activities because the state was bankrupt. The military was making money just to support themselves. So from that level, she also, she also get to, one, you should get to learn about real estate development. The other thing is how the state-owned enterprises work. So all those experiences come together, so enable her to hone her skill in, networking at the most senior level in Beijing a decade later.